Okay, let's unpack this. You've brought us a fascinating set of sources today, specifically diving into, well, an ancient story, an avathu, about a monk named Tissa.
That's right.
Found in places like the Dhammapada commentary.
Exactly. It's a narrative used to give context.
Yeah.
For a specific teaching from the Buddha.
Right.
And these commentaries, they offer just incredible depth. Often you get these past life stories, Jatakas, to really illustrate the points.
Gives us a window into how people understood these things way back when.
Absolutely.
So our mission for this deep dive, then, is to really get into the story about effort and delay and, well, the consequences.
Yeah, what happens when you put things off?
We want to take these, ancient layers of information and find those, timeless nuggets of wisdom that still hit home today.
I really enjoy digging into these texts. It feels like uncovering something fundamental.
Like tapping into this wisdom passed down through generations. So where does this particular story kick off? It starts in Savatthi. You've got this group, 500 young men.
Wow, 500.
Yeah. They heard the Buddha teach, got inspired, and decided, right, let's ordain, become monks.
Okay.
So they get meditation instructions directly from the Buddha and then head off to the forest to practice, really aiming for deep realization.
500 guys, all dedicated, heading into the woods with instructions from the Buddha himself. That's setting the stage for some serious effort.
It absolutely does. They had the tools, the teaching, the support. But the source notes something interesting. Out of that whole group, one monk was, quote, left behind in the forest.
Left behind, like he got lost or...
No, the source clarifies it's metaphorical. It means he didn't keep up spiritually. While the other 499, they practiced diligently, really applied themselves, and actually attained arahantship, full liberation.
Right, the goal.
This one monk, Tissa, he just fell behind, didn't put in that same sustained effort.
Okay, so it's about the inner journey, not the outer one.
Yeah.
They put in the work, got the results. He didn't.
So what happened with the 499 who succeeded?
Well, they finished their practice, achieved their goal, and returned to Savatthi.
Back to the Buddha.
Yep, went to report their success, basically,
Right.
show they'd applied the instructions effectively.
And how did the Buddha receive them? Must have been pleased.
Oh, very warmly, according to the source. Expressed great satisfaction, had this joyful conversation with them, acknowledging their hard work and achievement.
Okay, so Tissa, the one who fell behind, he didn't stay in the forest forever, I assume. What happened when he got back?
Right, so Tissa also eventually returns to Savatthi. And he sees this scene, right? The Buddha happily chatting with his successful friends, celebrating their realization.
Uh-oh.
And the source describes his reaction. Tissa felt, well, left out. He perceived that the Buddha wasn't talking to him with the same warmth because he hadn't gotten the results.
Oof. That sharp feeling, seeing others succeed where you haven't and realizing it's kind of your own fault. That's intensely human, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. The story captures that perfectly.
Yeah.
That moment of, like, oh, now I see.
So what did that feeling do to him? Did it spark anything?
It did. A sudden, really intense burst of motivation. The source says he thought basically, okay, I need to attain arahantship tonight, then the Buddha will talk to me too.
Whoa. Okay, so a desperate, last-minute, all-or-nothing push. What did he actually do?
He decided on this massive effort, walking meditation specifically, all night long, determined to catch up immediately, to get the goal now after dragging his feet for so long.
But knowing how these stories sometimes go, I suspect this sudden intense push didn't quite work out smoothly.
You suspect right. Despite the intensity, or maybe because of it, after the earlier lack of effort, exhaustion hit him hard.
Yeah.
He was doing his walking meditation right at the end of the path, and he fell asleep. On his feet, basically.
Oh, no.
Right onto a stone slab there and broke his thigh bone.
Oh, so yeah, a very physical, very harsh consequence, trying to cram it all in at the end.
It really illustrates that point, doesn't it? Putting off the work can lead to painful outcomes when you panic.
And his injury, it didn't just affect him, did it? It had knock-on effects.
It did. The source says he cried out really loudly, in pain, obviously.
Alerting the others.
Exactly. His fellow monks, the 499 arahants nearby, they heard him.
His friends, the ones who'd already done the work.
Yes. They rushed over to help, had to light lamps, figure out what happened, and then spend their time caring for him, tending to this serious injury all through the night.
Took a long time then.
It took so long that dawn actually broke while they were still busy with Tissa, making sure he was okay.
So they were up all night with him, missing their own rest after their own achievement. What did that mean for their day?
Well, earlier, The monks had told the Buddha that a lay follower, an upasaka, had invited them for the day's alms round in a nearby village.
Right, how they get their food.
Exactly. But because they were up all night looking after Tissa, the source says they missed their chance. They couldn't go to the village for alms that day.
So Tissa's delay, his lack of effort earlier, then the accident from his panicked effort, it directly cost his friends their meal for the day because they stopped to help him.
Wow. Yeah, it shows how our own inaction or maybe misplaced action can ripple outwards, right?
Definitely. So was this just seen as like a really unfortunate accident? What did the Buddha make of it when they explained why they missed the alms round?
Well, the Buddha asked them, why didn't you go to the village?
Okay.
And when they told him about Tissa's accident, the Buddha's response was, well, it was key. He said something like, Bhikkhus, this monk didn't just cause you trouble with your alms today.
Oh.
He caused trouble before as well.
Before? So this wasn't a new pattern for Tissa, delay and consequence.
Exactly. It points to this being a deeper tendency. And to illustrate this, the Buddha then shared a past life story, Jataka.
Oh, okay. Involving the same group?
Yes. He revealed that in a past life, these 500 monks, they were all students together.
And Tissa?
Tissa was a lazy student, procrastinated, didn't do his work on time, caused problems.
And the Buddha? The
Buddha himself was their teacher in that life. So the pattern was already there. Same individual, same tendency to delay, same impact on others.
Is there a specific detail from that past life story mentioned?
Yes. The Jataka mentions the lazy student breaking a particular kind of stick, a Padhānakammikatissattheravatthu stick.
Okay. What's the significance?
The source explains it's used as a metaphor. It represents later regret over things you should have done earlier.
Ah, like you can't unbreak a broken stick.
Exactly. It's permanently changed. You can't just easily undo the consequences of missed opportunities or tasks left undone because you were lazy or put them off. It's a really strong image for, the permanence of some consequences.
That is impactful. The broken stick. Consequences you can't just fix.
Precisely. So the Buddha used both stories, Tissa now with his broken leg, and Tissa back then with the broken stick to deliver a core teaching, a Dhamma teaching.
Okay, what was the main takeaway, the central message?
The main point was this. If someone doesn't make effort when it's time for effort.
Right, when the opportunity is there.
Yes. And if they have, the text says, sunken thoughts and are lazy, well, they simply won't attain those special achievements. Things like deep meditation states, jhana, or other insights.
So delaying effort, especially when you could be doing it, actively blocks progress.
It does. It prevents progress on any path that requires, work and clarity.
You mentioned sunken thoughts. What does that mean exactly? It's not just physical laziness.
Right. The term used is sasanasokapamano. It suggests a mind where thoughts are completely weighed down, depressed.
So
the commentary links it specifically to unskillful thoughts, like thoughts of sensual desire, ill will, or cruelty that kind of bog the mind down. It's mental inertia, not just physical. It stops you from focusing and making effort.
Got it. A kind of mental fog or heaviness that prevents action.
Yeah, keeps you stuck.
And to really drive this home, the Buddha summed it up in a specific verse, Agatha.
He did. It pulls everything together, the story, the past life, the teaching. A concise summary. It goes, Udanakalamhi anuhanhano uvabali olasya upeto sasanasa papamano kusito panyaya maga alasona vindatiti.
Okay, that packs a punch. Let's break down some of those key Pali terms using the definitions from the source. First part, Udanakalamhi anuttahanno.
Right. Udanakalamhi means at the time for effort, that moment when diligence is needed.
Okay.
And anhano means not making effort, not striving. So together, it's about failing to act, failing to put in the work when the time is right.
Failing to seize the moment. Got it. And yuabali.
That just means being young and strong.
Highlighting that capability isn't enough.
Exactly. The verse points out that even if you have the physical potential, youth, strength, energy, if you don't apply it, if you're unuttahano, it doesn't matter. You won't succeed. It's about squandering potential through inaction.
Right. Having the tools isn't enough. You got to use them. What about alasya bedo?
Means being overcome by laziness. And the definition adds a nice detail. Eating and sleeping often.
Huh. Okay. Paints a picture.
Yeah, a very tangible picture of that kind of inertia, right? Indulging in comfort, inactivity that just keeps you from making effort.
Makes the laziness very concrete. And sasanasakapamano, we touched on this, the sunken thoughts.
Yes. Having a mind with thoughts completely sunken or depressed, As we said, linked to those unskillful mental states that weigh the mind down, block motivation, prevent focus.
It's more than just feeling a bit lazy then. It's a deeper mental state.
A state where your own thoughts are kind of pulling you under, yeah.
Crucial distinction. How about kusito?
Kusito is defined as lacking energy or effort, inert.
Inert, like stuck.
Yeah, it reinforces that idea of lacking drive, a kind of mental or spiritual sluggishness, not activating your will when action is needed, just inert.
Okay. And the final consequence described in Padhānakammikatissattheravatthu.
Right, this is the outcome of all that precedes it. Not trying when it's time, being capable but lazy, overcome by inertia, mind bogged down.
Then what?
Alasu means the lazy person, and navindati means does not find or obtain.
Doesn't find what?
Banyamagat. The path to wisdom or insight, described as something to be seen by understanding.
So the lazy person, the one stuck in inertia with those sunken thoughts, even with potential, they just won't find that path to real understanding. It stays hidden.
Exactly. Because they haven't done the work, mental and physical, to clear the way, to develop the clarity needed to even see it, let alone walk it.
The effort is needed just to perceive the path itself.
Precisely.
So what was the effect of this whole teaching the story, the Jataka, the verse on the people listening right there?
The source wraps up by saying that at the end of this teaching, many in the audience attained different stages of awakening.
Wow, really?
Yeah, stream entry, other stages. It shows how powerfully this message hit home. The need for timely diligence, overcoming laziness. It clearly sparked real transformation for many who heard it directly.
That's amazing. A story about one guy messing up, basically, layered with past life context, distilled into this potent verse, and it triggers enlightenment.
It really shows how these ancient narratives aren't just stories. They contain really sharp, practical wisdom about us, about humans, and what's required for growth, spiritual or otherwise.
So bringing this back around to you, the listener, this whole deep dive into Tissa and the others, it gives us a lot to think about, doesn't it? It's a stark reminder that there really is a time for effort for the important things. Putting it off, even if you feel capable, young and strong, in whatever way applies.
It can have real consequences, sometimes irreversible ones, and not just for you. We saw how Tissa's friends were affected.
And that idea of sunken thoughts, of laziness blocking the path to wisdom or insight, that's not just about ancient monks, right?
Not at all. It applies to anything where you need clarity, skill, progress, real understanding, projects, relationships, learning, personal growth. Diligence at the right time is key.
So maybe think about your own life right now. Where are those opportunities? Where is the time for effort showing up for you?
Are you meeting it?
Oh.
Or are you maybe risking being left behind, like Tissa? Could your inaction be impacting others?
What crucial Vernikatha stick, that symbol of irreversible consequences, might be breaking right now in your work or your life because of delay, something you won't be able to just glue back together later?
Yeah, it's definitely a thought worth sitting with and maybe, acting on.